In today's video, I'm going to show you a rider who is likely to become a crash statistic. You'll see a rider who is increasing his risk by 2, maybe 3 times what he needs to because of one simple mistake. The rider makes this mistake in spite of the fact that it doesn't offer him any real advantages to him because we eventually arrive at the same exact intersection in relatively the same amount of time. So he's increasing his risk considerably, but gets no real benefit from his increase in risk. So let this be a warning to all you motorcycle riders, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you pass a red Nissan Titan on the highway and I'm the one driving it, and you do something dumb on your motorcycle, the dash cam is rolling, and you might make a future MCrider video just like this guy did. So this week, let's look at what this rider does. We'll break it down. We'll see what we could do to keep from making the same mistakes. So I was in my truck on a typical highway in North Texas. Traffic was flowing at about 70 miles per hour. I had the adaptive cruise set on my pickup, and I was cruising down the highway. So this is out the back window of my Nissan Titan. Our rider is 2 cars behind, not counting that 18-wheeler over in the left-hand lane. Notice his lane position, what that does for his visibility. He kind of comes out a little bit at this point where you can see him a little bit more, but he's getting closer to my truck as well. So we'll speed things up a little bit. We'll get to the point where he passes my truck. Notice the following distance that the rider gets behind my truck and his position on the highway. So we've got an entrance ramp to the left of the screen, and our rider is going to use that to pass my truck on the highway. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he thought the highway was adding extra lane. I don't know. But you can see how the rider exchanges poor lane position and bad following distance to me, to the truck in front of me, and then he moves to the left and continues his bad habit with the white truck in the far left lane. Some of you are watching this thinking, I don't see what the big deal is. The rider's just getting up the highway. I can promise you this, if you do not see the deficiencies in this rider's road strategy, your road strategy may be adding extra danger to you as well. So let's talk about a few things that we can learn from this rider and how we could decrease our risks out on the road. First of all, his following distance was really bad, and I think if you watched MCrider for any length of time, you picked up on that right away. In this video, he consistently has less than a 1-second gap between him and the car in front of him. Initially behind me, then behind the Toyota Tundra, then behind the Ram pickup. He is consistently less than a second's following distance. To make matters worse, he's even doing this behind vehicles that make it impossible for him to see. So I drive a 4-wheel drive Nissan Titan pickup. It doesn't have a lift on it or anything, but it still sits up much higher than this rider could see, especially being right on my tailgate. He moves from directly behind me to the bumper of a 4-wheel drive Toyota Tundra, changes that out for the bumper of a 4-wheel drive Ram pickup. I guess it is true that Texans like their 4-wheel drive pickups, and this guy happened to find every one of them on the highway this day. So this rider is fully dependent on every driver in front of him to do the right thing because he can't see what's happening up the road, and he's positioned himself directly behind that vehicle in front of him so that he's got no reaction time if he needs to change lanes or avoid a hazard in the road. Not to mention that he's attached to the bumper of trucks that can easily straddle debris that's often found in the road. So my truck sits up high enough that if there's a chunk of rubber, I can just, put it right between the tires and keep on going. You don't have that luxury on a motorcycle. And this was a hot day. It was about 104 degrees when this guy was out riding, and 18-wheelers are losing rubber all over the road in temperatures like that. So it's not an unknown hazard by any means to see a piece of rubber laying in the road. But where he was positioned leads us to the second issue, is not only was he danger close to the vehicle in front of him, but most often he was positioned directly in the center of the lane, directly in the center of that vehicle in front of him. This not only obstructs his view further up the road, but it increases his risk of hitting that debris. Even if he didn't increase his following distance, and I can't think of a single reason why a rider wouldn't, especially in a situation like this, He could have at least positioned himself to the left or the right so that he could see past that vehicle in front of him. And like I said earlier, I ended up being behind this rider to the same exact exit from the freeway, and he got there about 10 seconds in front of me. So he took all the risk and got no reward. Maintaining a proper following distance, especially in congested city high-speed traffic like this, is a core road strategy. Any rider who ignores a simple 2 to 3 second following distance is dramatically increasing their risk every time they throw a leg over a motorcycle. And the reward is often getting to that same exit maybe 10 to 20 seconds sooner than you would have otherwise. It's simply not worth it. So I don't know about the riding skills of this particular rider, but I can tell you that his road strategy was severely deficient. We always preach here on MCrider, develop your skills on a parking lot and then ride on the road in a manner where you rarely need to use those skills. That's the recipe to reduce the odds of becoming a crash statistic. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road.